Morning, welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
Hello there, 9 o'clock. Here our headline is available right now on Amazon Prime Video.
And it's great. Do stay with us, the headlines are coming up. Rugby League legend Rob Burrow inspired so many people with his campaign to raise awareness of motor neurone disease before he sadly died in June last year. And alongside him through it all was his incredible wife, Lindsay.
Yeah, following Rob's diagnosis in 2019, Lindsay cared for him full-time while also working and raising their family.
Yeah, she's detailed her story in a new book, which she hopes will help others overcome challenges in their own lives. And if you have spotted the Planetary...
With Jaisley Bake's mum and sister a bit later in the programme.
Now, the magician and illusionist Stephen Frayne, formerly known as Dynamo, is up to his old tricks after almost a decade.
Old tricks, see what you did there. He's returning with a bang for a 47-date residency, and he's already been performing for school pupils in his home city of Bradford. Let's have a look.
Got so many more questions for you, Stephen.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Up Close and Magical starts on the 28th of March with Stephen at the Underbelly Boulevard in London, and then he's going to be in Bradford, City of Culture, a lot.
Now you need to send me a telepathic message, see if we can talk.
I knew you were going to say that.
Stop. While we do that, let's get the news, the travel and the weather and the magic where you are.
Mind blown.
Morning, welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
Good morning, it's just after 8 o'clock. Here are headlines today.
Now, the oil giant BP is today expected to announce plans to scale back on renewable projects and increase oil and gas production.
Ben can tell us what all this means. Morning, Ben. It is. Fast-paced.
His hero, yes.
Absolutely. But right now, it's time to get the news, the travel and weather where you are.
Hello, this is Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
Just after 7:30, and John joined us with the
Good morning.
I don't know quite what's going on. I just looked up from my notes, and Sally was doing like semaphore or something. What was going on?
Carol and I have been communicating via sign language the whole time.
Okay.
And I can tell you, I think I've got a clue about what she's about to say, which is we've been going like this. So rainy and cold, I think.
Just in defence spending, but it means to pay for it, the UK's foreign aid budget is going to be cut. And of course, this comes as the backdrop is that the European leaders are working to try to find a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. Now, a mum whose twin sons both endured cancer treatment is welcoming cutting-edge research, which she says has given her hope.
Julie Parton's son, Ben, died from a brain tumour aged 12. Devastatingly, just 2 weeks after the funeral, his brother Jack was diagnosed with leukaemia.
After more than 3 years of treatment, though, Jack is now 17. He's cancer-free, he's doing well. And he and his mum have been finding out about groundbreaking radiotherapy research. Joanne Riddle has this report for us.
About the planets, just about the planets, John.
I was thinking of that lovely tree you've got. If you have spotted the Planetary parade, where you are and who you are as well, if you're using that WhatsApp number, so we can get a sense of what the weather was like last night.
But now it's time to get the news, the travel and the weather where you are.
Wherever you are.
Whichever. To Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
It's 7 o'clock. Good morning. Here are headlines. Clear skies are going to be crucial over the next few nights because people across the UK are in for a treat this week. 7 planets becoming visible in a phenomenon known as a planetary parade.
You saw them, didn't you?
I think so. Saw something.
If you've got a telescope, you could see all 7, but you don't need fancy kit because 4 of them will be visible to the naked eye.
We'll get some tips in a second because scientists have warned us that we've got to be quick. This could be our last opportunity to get the full sighting until the year 2040. But some of us have been lucky enough to get a glimpse already.
It is 6:35 exactly. John is here with a look at...
Now, how far will we all have to go to reduce our carbon emissions over the next few years? The committee that's responsible for monitoring climate change progress has said that by the year 2040, the UK must be emitting just 13% of the greenhouse gases it did 50 years earlier.
It's a big change, isn't it?
Big change.
Good news is we're already more than halfway there, though. In 2023, UK emissions were already down by 52% on 1990 levels.
But how do we do the rest? Our climate editor, Justin Rowland, has been looking into what would need to be done to reach that new target. We'll talk a bit more about this. Justin will join us in the studio on the sofa to talk through the changes we might all have to make.
Some optimism there, isn't there? But still work to do.
Indeed. Just after
This won't cost you any more. Here's a little top tip. You need to drink more tea, John. Do you drink any tea at all?
No, only coffee. But persuade me.
OK, well, here's the deal. Researchers in the United States have found that tea, even just your humble tea bag, takes toxins out of water. So if there's any metals in water, for example, lead, there's not a huge amount of lead in the water in the UK, but it does remove toxins, which is very, very good for you. And a reduction in like metallic compounds in drinking water would mean that you have better cardiovascular health, less likely to have a heart attack and less likely to have a stroke. So more tea.
So the bag kind of soaks up the impurities.
But if you like weak tea, it's not so good. You need to leave the bag in for 3 minutes minimum. This doesn't apply to you.
Does it mention coffee?
It doesn't.
It doesn't apply.
Doesn't mention coffee.
But if you're having
all.
a cup of tea right now, feel a little safer this morning. 23 minutes past 6.
Now, the rugby league legend Rob Burrow inspired so many people with his campaign to raise awareness of motor neurone disease before he sadly died in June last year. And alongside him through it all was his incredible wife, Lindsay.
Following Rob's diagnosis in 2019, Lindsay cared for him full-time while also working and also raising their family. And she's detailed her story in a new book, which she hopes is going to help others overcome challenges in their own lives.
The book is amazing. It's, as you could hear from the Prince of Wales' words there, it's about sacrifice, looking after other people and helping other people in whatever way you can. For Lindsay, obviously, it was Rob, and she's going to be here, actually, with us on the sofa to talk about the book and what the Prince of Wales has told her about it, what he thinks about it, just after 8 o'clock this morning.
It's a story of hope as well, isn't it?
It's absolutely a story of hope, completely. Yeah, in the worst circumstances, always hope.
It's coming up to 6:30. Let's get the news, the travel and weather where you are. See you in a moment.
Welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Nugent.
It's 6 o'clock. Good morning. Here are our headlines.
Well, some of you might have been out taking pictures of the Planetary parade this week. We've had to go ourselves, haven't we, John?
With our very high-tech equipment.
Yes.
To maximise all our chances of getting a better picture. But if you were out last night, if you've been out...
You need to change your phone settings somehow.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, you do. You need to point your phone in another direction.
Carol's just after 6:15, and the family of a 19-year-old soldier who took her own life after being sexually assaulted is calling for a criminal investigation into her death.
Royal Artillery gunner Jaisley Beck was found dead in her Wiltshire barracks in 2021. On Thursday, a coroner ruled that the Army's handling of Jaisley's complaint had contributed to her death.
Well, I spent the day yesterday with Jaisley's mum and sister, who now want an independent body to be established to monitor how reports and complaints are handled in the future. That was the thing that really struck me, is that, you know, if your teenage child is struggling or needs you, most of us can go and see them or collect them or you know, see them face to face. But they were saying they couldn't do that. She was on an army base. They couldn't get through the gate. So they felt utterly helpless. The extraordinary thing, we'll play the full interview a little bit later, but what Leanne and Emily were saying was that, you know, for them, their fight is now they're putting everything into campaigning and getting change. And they've had, they say, hundreds of messages from other women mainly, but also young men serving and their families, and they want to be able to help all of them. So we'll hear how they're going to do that a bit later. Amazing to hear the words of her mother, though. So powerful. It is 21 minutes past 6. We're going to bring you the front pages of today's newspapers now. We're going to start with the Daily Mail.